The story that I'm about to tell you is about the time that I got ran over by a car. This was a little over 10 years ago. I was hanging out with a few friends at the time. They basically, I'm going to rename them. Let me name one Tracy and Monica. Let's name them that. Tracy and Monica. Tracy was driving the car at the time. We had borrowed the car from Monica's sister, older sister. She let us borrow the car at the time. That's basically where and how this is about to start. Every Wednesday we did a thing called the trash run, where Monica's house, because Monica's house was so small that we would grab all our trash that didn't fit in our trash cans and go throw it in other people's trash cans, only because it was going to the same spot. That was the only issue. So we would do it every night around 9 o'clock at night. And so when we did, what we would do is we would go and meet at Monica's house. Me and Tracy would walk to Monica's house, and then we would go, And then we would go ahead and talk about how many bags of trash we had and how many trips we would have to take. So if we knew that we had, it wouldn't be the small bags either. It would be like the big old black bags. So what we would do is we would go ahead and check everything, make sure, okay, well, only 5 bags fit in the trunk. So we would have to see, if we have 10 bags, we're gonna have to do 2 trips. So I think this time, we had to do 2 trips. I can't really remember. So it was about 9:30, and we already had everything in the vehicle. So what we would do was we would drive around, because our town wasn't really big. It was really small, only a few streets, and we all lived around the block from each other. Well, Monica lived right across the street, and Tracy lived right around the corner. So once we knew that there was nobody outside watching us, because that was our biggest fear, somebody seeing us and saying, hey, don't be throwing your trash in my trash can, or something happening. So we were all really young, like we were really scared, except for Monica. Monica was the oldest out of all of us, and then it was Tracy, and then I was the youngest. So we already had threw a few bags of trash in trash cans, and then we, I think, had a few bags left from the first trip. So we finished throwing those, and then when we went back to where all the other bags were, which was at Monica's house, then we would go ahead and fill up the trunk one more time. So we were like, hell yeah, like we're already almost done. Let's get this over with. We got school tomorrow. So we were all happy. Like we were ready to just conquer the night, basically. So what happened was I accidentally threw a bag. We had turned the corner, and I think it was like one of the last bags. And we turned the corner, and I thought I had made it in the trash can. So they pulled over, and Tracy was like, I don't want you littering, you gotta throw it in the trash can. And I said, okay, like it didn't hit me at the time. So I grabbed the bag and I threw it further, thinking that she wasn't gonna see. And so when I threw it further, she actually did see, and she was just playing around. But in my head, I was like, oh my God, I see the car rolling, like they're gonna leave me. Like, I was like, really? Like I had all my stuff in the car, so I was like, oh no, you can't leave me. So my first reaction was to run to the car. Once I started running, I'll never forget this moment. Once I started running, the car started going a little faster. I was getting so, like, I had so much adrenaline in me. I never thought what was about to come was actually about to come. I was in the back passenger seat, and the door was still open. So when they made the U-turn, the car was rolling. I started running, and then I jumped into the car thinking that I was already in there. They take off. My foot got stuck on the road because I was wearing sandals. And I literally fell out of the car and the tire went over my legs. I was in shock. I couldn't believe that she had just ran me over, and it never hit me like, wow. I just lay on the floor laughing, crying. I was laughing because I was like, wow, she ran me over. I was crying because I started feeling like the rocks in my legs, in my hands. They stopped the car because they just felt a bump, and they stop and they see me and they're like, are you laughing or are you crying? And I go, I'm doing both. And then, like, they couldn't believe it either. Like, wow, she really did fall out of the car. We just ran her over. So I went back to, we stopped everything. I went to Tracy's house, and her grandma was like, why are you having tears and you're like laughing? Like, what happened? I just got ran over. Tracy just ran me over with Monica's sister's car. She bawled and laughed like she couldn't believe it either. So then what had happened was I had rocks in my hands. I basically took everything out of my hands, my knees. I put some rubbing alcohol, like peroxide, everything to make sure that I didn't get no germs. And yeah, like, until this day, I still can't believe what had happened. Like, I laugh back at it now, but at the moment, it was just unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. Thank you for listening to this story time, and I hope you liked it. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. And if you want more, please leave some comments down below saying that you would want another story time, and I'll go ahead and let you know about another story.